Everyone, welcome back to the next video. In today's video I will show you how to do input validations for integrating GraphQL with Spring Boot. So this is the next part of our integrating GraphQL with Spring Boot, and here we will be looking into input validation. So first I have this query greet. It takes a name, okay, and here you can see the name is of only one character. So there is input validation applied to this. So if I change it to nobody, and here you can see hello nobody. Otherwise, if I just change it to nobo, then it again throws an error. Okay, so this is one. Next is validation check name. If I run this again, here you can see I'm getting it as empty, but if I just add this, here you can see it needs at least one character. So this is another query. Now I have third query which takes a name, okay, and if I make this as something like this, here you can see cannot be empty. So I'll just add this, okay, and I'll then make this as empty. Here you can see again I'm getting cannot be empty. I should have written better error messages, I guess. And if I just remove this, here you can see I'm getting enter valid email. And there is one more validation I have applied. So whatever output we get, it gets converted to uppercase. Now you might be thinking, okay, I can just use .to uppercase for my particular string, but that's not what I'm using. And you can use that, but that's not how GraphQL recommends to do you things. So let's see how to do this. So firstly, open your code. Again, this is continuation of our video series of integrating GraphQL with Spring Boot. Firstly, you will have to go to pom.xml. Here you will have to add this dependency. If you want to copy paste it, you can go to this URL. At the time of this recording, the version is 21.0, but if you are watching this in the future, make sure you check whatever is the latest version. Next, I have gone to schemas.graphql. Before that, I have created this file called directive-validation.graphql, and here this is first directive @size, which is already present inside this GraphQL Java extended validation library. This size, not blank, container not empty, @pattern, these are all present inside this GraphQL Java extended validation. This uppercase I have created by myself by extending on this GraphQL Java extended validation library. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is that this is our annotation @size. Here I am saying minimum whenever you're using this validation of size, the if you're not passing the min, max and message, min max, the default is 10, max and default max is 5000. Same for @name blank, you will have to pass some message whenever something goes wrong. And for container not equal to empty, again you will have to pass some message. Here you don't have to specify for this min max, because it is just checking whether it is not blank or whether it is not empty, right? So you don't need to pass min max for this. And this is for a regular expression. So in case if you don't provide a regular expression, this will get applied, and here you will have to pass an error message in case something gets wrong. And you might be wondering what is this. So this is gets applied for our arguments or for our input, right? So that's why we have added this argument @input. And here this directive uppercase, this is applied to field. So whatever is your output, that has for that it will get applied. Okay, that's why we have marked this as field or field definition. Next, you will go to schemas.graphql, and here you can see, so we already had this method. So if you are following this series, we already had defined this greet method at the top over here. So I have just taken this and refactored this. So this greet takes a name of type string, but here I have added this @size input validation, and here you can see min should be 5, max should be 10, and here you can define the error message. Similarly for validation check as well, I have added this @not blank, okay, cannot be empty, same thing. Okay, and for I have created another query called validation check 2, and here again I'm using @not blank. And here for this list I'm using @container not empty, because this is an array of like list of integers, right? That's why we have to use container not empty. And if you want for regex, here you can see this is our email, and here you can use @pattern. You can pass your regular expression, and here you can pass your message as well. And if you remember, we had this directive at the rate uppercase as well, so that gets applied to this output. So that's why I'm using at the rate uppercase over here. So yeah, that's it from the schemas.graphql side. Next, what you will have to do is, I just went to hello world resolver.java, and here I have just defined our query mapping for greet, query mapping for validation check, and query mapping for validation check too. So pretty simple, right? Here we are just passing the argument for string, list of integers, and string. We have already covered this in our previous video. Now if you remember, we had this file called scalar.java over here inside config scalar.java. I have just renamed it to GraphQL config.java. You can keep it scalar.java, but in that file I'm adding this input validation thing as well, because I don't want to create separate configuration file for this small bit of code. So here you can see I have added this runtime wiring configure. So if you want, you can copy the imports, and here firstly this is for so we have already covered this, right? Scalar, like these are for scalar types. For input validation, firstly you have to add this directive wiring. So first, the order is very important. So if you have custom input validation like the one which I have, that should come first, followed by this validation schema wiring, which I will show you in a bit. So here it is, validation schema wiring. So this is for normal validations which are already present, like the one which we have used, like at the rate size, at the rate not blank, at the rate container not empty, and at the rate pattern. So those are covered for this validation schema wiring. So this should be at the very last. If you have any custom input validation, that should come first. Okay, and if you see this uppercase directive.java, so firstly you will have, you can copy the imports. You will have to import from implement schema directive wiring and given that we were if you see over here we are applying it for our field and field definition. That's why I have overridden on field. Then we get the field definition as well as the container. Then previously we used to use this method, but this is deprecated, so you can use get field data fetcher. Then with the help of get field data fetcher, you can just wrap your data fetcher, and here we are indirectly converting it to 2 uppercase. So that is the important part. So you might be thinking, I will just directly convert to 2 uppercase. You can do that, but again, this is what GraphQL recommends. Just converting directly to 2 uppercase from your output, that might save you some headache. So yeah, choose whatever you feel right. And here again, this is boilerplate code for creating field coordinates, then calling our data fetcher and returning our field definition. So yeah, I think that's it. So we have done this. I have shown you this directive validation GraphQLs. I have shown you schemas.graphqls as well. So this is all stuff, these 3 queries which we have defined. Then I have shown you GraphQL config.java as well. So here we are adding this directive wiring, and we have added this validation schema wiring. I have also shown you uppercase directive.java, and I've also shown you hello world resolver. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.